There are late-breaking developments to report in the case of a pregnant Texas woman who went to court for the right to abort her baby that doctors have told her will not survive and that could harm her own health. A lawyer for Kate Cox cites a deterioration of Ms. Cox's health condition as to why she has now chosen to seek medical care outside of Texas, which has a 6-week abortion ban. A ruling by a Texas judge last week allowing her to go forward with the abortion at 20 weeks was swiftly challenged by Texas officials. Her attorney is saying Cox's health is on the line. The Texas Supreme Court tonight ruling against her. Senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett has the latest.
Tonight in Texas, a mother must leave her home state to get an emergency abortion her doctors say she urgently needs, but the state has tried to block. At the center of this legal roller coaster, 31-year-old Kate Cox.
This has been a hellish week for Kate.
A mother of 2, now 20 weeks pregnant, who discovered 2 weeks ago the baby she's currently carrying has a fatal genetic condition and will not survive.
I never thought I would ever need or want an abortion.
That painful reality raising a host of serious health complications for Cox herself, who says she has been to the emergency room 4 times in the last month alone. And now her attorneys say in a new letter tonight, quote, due to the ongoing deterioration of Ms. Cox's health condition, Ms. Cox is now forced to seek medical care outside of Texas. Last week, a state court judge ordered Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton not to enforce its 6-week abortion ban against Cox or her doctors, finding her life, health, and fertility at serious risk.
The idea that Ms. Cox wants desperately to be a parent, and this law might actually cause her to lose that ability is shocking and would be a genuine miscarriage of justice.
But that decision was swiftly put on hold late Friday after Paxton's office petitioned the state's highest court to stop her procedure, arguing she doesn't meet the criteria for a medical exception. Nancy Northup leads the group fighting on Cox's behalf.
As difficult as Kate's situation is, she had the means to be able to leave the state of Texas. That is not the case for most people.
Cox's case highlighting a stark new chapter in the battle over abortion access.
This is what happens when abortion is criminalized.
And Laura, the breaking news tonight, the Supreme Court of Texas has made a ruling on the merits of the case. So where does that leave us?
That's right, Lester. The state's high court has just ruled that her doctor didn't do enough to show she was facing a life-threatening physical condition. At the same time, this court is saying that a pregnant woman does not need a court order if she needs a life-saving abortion. Bottom line here is Cox is now set to leave the state, so it doesn't impact her. But the decision clarifies the legal standard going forward, Lester.
All right, Laura Jarrett, thanks. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.